Hey everybody, what's going on? Bahroo here, back inside of Borderlands 2 to talk to you all about the One Life Hardcore Overpower 8 run. Now, for those who may be following me on Twitch, may already know, but for those who haven't, basically, myself and Ryoko have been doing a lot of farming, and we have made it all the way to Overpower 8 without dying, and now it's time to do a full Overpower 8 hardcore playthrough. Now, before you say anything, yes, I will be uploading it to YouTube regardless if I live or if I die. Because, well, yeah, this might be entertaining. Anyway, we've been farming all of this gear, and I figured I'd give you all the rundown of what exactly I have been using for, or what I will be using in this entire playthrough, so you all know what to expect. So we've got our grog nozzle for the healing, we've got an unkempt herald for the explosive damage, a pimpernel of fire. We also have a corrosive one in my inventory. My launcher of choice is going to be a dippity derp because I do have a lot of explosive damage increase. However, I wouldn't be opposed to potentially finding a E-Tech along the way. I'm going to use, for shields, I'm going to use a Punchy or a Flame of the Firehawk, a B with 1.45 amp, a Rough Rider, and those are going to be the shields that I use. Go ahead and get rid of those. Boom. There we go. So those are going to be all the different shields that I use. I'm going to be swapping them out depending on what spec I plan on running at the time. There's a time and a place for a melee spec, a B spec, and a Flame of the Firehawk spec as Krieg. Now for class mods, we've got a Diesel Sickle, a Legendary Torch, and a Flesh Crunch. Again, going over whichever spec. Then for our grenades, I've got a lobbed Stormfront for building Bloodlust stacks, and then I've got a lobbed Slag Bouncing Betty, and that is what I'm going to be using for slagging things from long distance. I also have a Longbow Slag Singularity with 0 fuse time. That's more for crowd control. And now for elemental relics, I've got an Explosive Relic, a Shock Relic, a Blood, which I don't think I'm going to be using, but the sniper rifle ammo is really nice, and that would be great for my pimpernel. And I also have a fire damage relic. We may end up improving our relics somewhere down the road because, well, having a corrosive bone definitely wouldn't hurt or anything like that. But for right now, that's what we're going to run. And I'm pretty much going to always have the explosive on me for the Herald and the rocket launcher. Now for the other pieces of gear that we're going to have, definitely not going to be using that Flacker, but we're going to be using the Avenger to regenerate our ammo, the Hornet, so that way we can combine that with a B. Hornet is very good, probably the best corrosive pistol in the game outside of the Lady Fist. After that, we've got a Casual Ravager, a Good and Bad Touch, both with perfect parts, which is going to allow me to heal myself with an SMG if I need it, and will be useful when I combine it with a Turtle Shield that we will find later down the line. I will say that most of these guns are pretty much all perfect parts because we spent a lot of time farming. Then we've got a Heartbreaker, a non-elemental Sandhawk, a Fire and Shock Kitten, a Corrosive Pimpernel, a Fire Sandhawk, a Shock Pimpernel, a Lady Fist. The reason we have a Slag Ruby is so that way when we get our next grog nozzle, because when we reset the story we're going to lose our grog nozzle. The reason we have that is so that way we can still heal ourselves with stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and go over the spec that we're going to be using. Now, let's go ahead and first go over the Hellborn spec. So we're going to put 4 points into Burn Baby Burn, 1 into Fuel the Fire, 5 into Pain is Power, 5 into Elemental Elation, 5 into Fire Fiend, 1 into Delusional Damage, 5 into Elemental Empathy, 5 into Numb Nerves, 1 into Raving Retribution. Now we're going to go 5 into Empty the Rage, and then 5 into Embrace the Pain. Now you might say, Bahroo, why aren't you speccing into Feed the Meat? The reason is because I don't want to increase my maximum health as Hellborn, because it's much easier to heal myself and get back above health gate if I don't have that. Now we're going to go into Blood-Filled Guns, Blood Twitch, Blood Bath, Boiling Blood, and Nervous Blood. And this will be our spec for Hellborn. Now the reason that we're not going into Bloodsplosion at all is because Blood Explosion and Hellborn really don't have too much synergy, so there's no real point. If I'm going to Blood Explode something, that's a better spec for it. And that is the spec I will be using for Hellborn, and obviously I'll be decking myself out with Elemental Gear, and I'll be swapping this out with a Legendary Torch, and I've got the Flame of the Firehawk on. Now, if I plan on using, say, a Flesh Crunch or, say, a B build, we're going to change that up a little bit, and we have to spec in a very unique way. So we're going to go into Empty the Rage, and Feed the Meat. Now, the reason we do that is because we're going to be using a B, and I don't want to go into Fuel the Rampage just in case Ryoko accidentally takes out my B, and I don't want to use Embrace the Pain because that'll just make it impossible to, well, yeah. So we're going to go 5 into Thrill the Kill, so that way I can get some overkill healing, which is very easy with a B, and we'll go into 5 into the Strip the Flesh. Next up, we're going to go into Blood-Filled Guns, Blood Twitch, Blood Bath, the usual, Boiling Blood, Nervous Blood, and then Blood Explosion. I could also throw 5 points into Fuel the Blood and 1 point into Buzzax Bombardier in case I get a melee kill. We're also going to put 5 points into Salt the Wound and 1 into Release the Beast. Now, beyond this point, there is nowhere that I really want to spend skill points. Outside of, I guess we'll put 5 in Taste the Blood as well. These 4 beyond this point don't do anything. I don't need to lower my fuse time. I'm never going to use an assault rifle and fight for my life. Not going to use blood trance. Can't spec into Embrace the Pain or Fuel the Rampage. Light the Fuse is literally useless. STV is too risky on OP8, and Redeem the Soul is just going to lead to a bad time. And I can't touch Hellborn because I don't want to put a dot on myself, otherwise that'll ruin my B. So that's going to be my B spec for this character. And now let's go ahead and reset one final time. Now there is the extremely risky melee build. There's a time and a place for this. There is a time and a place for this build. It won't be used very often, but it will be used, so I figured I would go ahead and go over the specs. So we've got Feed the Meat, Empty the Rage, and then we're going to want to go into Strip the Flesh, Salt the Wound, STV, and Release the Beast. Again, we're not going into Redeem the Soul for obvious reasons. Then we're going to go ahead and do the typical stuff inside this tree. Pretty much the same way every time. Now, the reason that I don't spec into Blood Trance, even as melee, is because I don't want to stay in Buzzax Rampage longer than I have to. I'm going to be using that as a method of healing as well, so I don't want to, I don't want to risk it. Now, I'm not going to go into Hellborn at all. While there is a slight increase to melee damage, it's not worth it simply because the percentage is too low and I don't want to put a dot on myself. So we're going to go ahead and go into Embrace the Pain, so that way I can throw my Buzzax faster. And we're going to go ahead and spec into Bloodbath and Nervous Blood. And then we'll be swapping out for a Diesel Sickle, because I apparently never managed to find a Scream Sickle. And we're going to be going Rough Rider or Punchy. It really depends. But there's a time and place for that build. We'll see. Anyway, that is pretty much everything that I will be using for my Overpower 8 Krieg. And I hope you all will join me in this playthrough. I spent a lot of time farming and I've been having a lot of fun doing this. So hopefully you all will join me on the Twitch and we'll play through this entire game and hopefully not die. That's the goal. Hopefully we won't die. That would be really depressing if I die within like an hour of me putting this video up, but whatever. And by the time this video is up, we are actually going to be live. So I'll see you all on the Twitch. Thanks for being here. Bye. Later. Oh my God. We should have an outro. Oh wait, I don't have one. Damn it!